The TCG SCOOPS Show is part of the Booster Pack Network. For more TCG-related content, visit theboosterpacknetwork.com. Hosting for this show is sponsored by Category 1 Games, the go-to shop for all of your classic TCG needs. Find your favorites or discover something new at category1games.com.
Welcome to TCG SCOOPS. This is the news podcast that'll bring you news from the top 3 games in trading card game world, which is Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Magic. My name is Ranz, and the premise of this show is I ain't got time to keep up with all of the happenings in the world of trading card games, so I've assembled 3 friends here and experts for those respective games to tell me all about it. I'm going to get them to sound off just quickly. Right to my left, we've got
Tyler.
Tyler, and you're an expert in what game?
Pokemon.
Excellent. And then to Tyler's left,
Nico,
expert in what game?
Magic the Gathering.
Cool. Then by process of elimination, we've got our expert down the end here.
Parker, and I'm actually a Dragon Ball expert. No, I'm just kidding. A Yu-Gi-Oh expert.
Well, yeah, exactly. You're an expert in many things. Multifaceted talent. Before we get started as well, if you love any of those games I just mentioned, please go check out our sponsor link, which is through Toad and Troll. You can find our discount code in the description of this episode, and if you use that over on that website, not only are you going to support this podcast, you're going to do what players of trading card games love doing as well. That's buying signals, and of course, anything that they sell directly, you can get a discount on. Now we're going to jump into the news today. Not much ado. This is probably a very important episode for me because I have been away on vacation, so I haven't been keeping up with anything. So I'm very, very excited to hear what these guys have to say. I think we're going to start. We're going to start with Pokemon today. What have we got going on in the world of Pokemon this past month?
All right. So in the world of Pokemon, we just had our first 2 major events of our new Paldea Evolve format.
Okay.
We had the Japan Championship and our North America International Championship.
Okay.
Pretty big deal.
They sound important for sure.
Yep. So we have our top 8s from both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we're both playing the same format.
Okay.
And North America for this.
Mm-hmm.
In Japan, Mew VMAX still strong in first place.
Mm-hmm.
We saw some Gardevoir, which I mentioned previously that I thought was going to be a strong contender for the format.
Okay.
But it's actually the only one in the Japanese tournament's top 8.
Okay.
There's one in second
All
place. We have another Mew VMAX, one that a lot of people have been kind of sleeping on in North America, I think.
Okay.
And then about 4 different versions of Lost Box.
Okay, right. Okay.
Of course.
Very, very dominant in Japan.
Okay, very, very nice.
In North America, though, we had a really interesting top 8. We had a deck that, in a lot of people's minds, has always been on this borderline between being like a tier like 1.5 or 2, or even like a rogue deck. Some people's minds. It's something that when the form like Scarlet and Violet first dropped, people were really talking about this deck. It kind of fell off, and it's Rapid Strike Urshifu VMAX with Inteleon Rapid Strike VMAX.
Okay, all right. That sounds like a complicated little deck list. What's the story there?
So the concept behind this deck is Rapid Strike Urshifu has an attack. It's for 2 fighting. You have a special energy called Rapid Strike Energy you can use to fill that requirement. And it discards all energy attached to this Pokemon. Sorry, it's 2 fighting and a colorless.
Okay.
So you attach this, you can use like a Raihan or some way to attach your third. It discards all energy attacks and does 120 damage to 2 Pokemon of your choosing.
Okay, cool. On bench, obviously on bench.
Or active.
Or active. Okay, cool.
Inteleon VMAX, Rapid Strike, has an ability that if you discard a water energy from your hand, you can place damage counters on your opponent's bench Pokemon. So
okay.
A lot of decks in the game right now, like Gardevoir, have these really small, squishy Pokemon as an engine spread out. We have Lost Box, which is all these Pokemon that are like really tiny. And this deck just out of nowhere came back and just runs them all over.
It's just like, just snipes off these bench Pokemon and just claiming prizes, even single prizes.
Taking multiple single prizes every turn, stopping their ability to draw cards, just completely locking them out of the game.
Yeah, so shutting down those Pokemon abilities on the bench while claiming the rewards for that.
Yeah,
it's classic Pokemon.
Surprising though, because it's weak not only to Mew VMAX, and Gardevoir. His psychic weakness.
Right. Okay. So
psychic, I believe, or Gardevoir, I think, had the highest. Well, definitely had the highest representation at NAIC, but I think it was like 28% of the meta share.
Yeah. But then only slipped in towards the end there in that top 8.
Well, for Japan, it was
the Japan.
And ours, we had a few more representatives for, but I think in North America it was targeted a little more heavily.
Okay.
Second.
So that just that like hits 2 different things for how much?
For 120 damage, which for VMAXs and Bs is not a whole lot.
Right.
For like these Gardevoir EX uses Curlia that you discard a card from your hand, draw
Yeah.
2, and you can have like 4 of those.
Okay.
They only have 90 HP though.
Right.
So both of those just get blown up by that.
Okay.
So
So it's like Fury in Magic, but with like actual like cost.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
you have to like do things to play that card. You don't just exile a red card from your hand.
Well, so you have to have the Pokemon in play.
Right.
You have to discard a card from your hand, draw
Yeah.
2, and you can only use it once per turn per Curlia that has that ability.
Okay.
Mhm.
Right.
Right. So it's still, you can get through your deck pretty fast. It's not
Yeah.
uncommon for Gardevoir by turn 3 to be seeing the bottom of their deck.
Right.
Mhm.
Wow. Jeez. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
In second place, we had Arceus Duraludon with Umbreon VMAX, which is one that was mentioned last time as well.
Okay.
It's just this Duraludon build that we have that was originally really good in like Lugia and all these single, sorry, not single strike, these special energy decks.
Okay.
Has an ability that blocks damage from them. They started splashing an Umbreon just to hit Gardevoir for weakness, really.
Okay.
And it's clearly doing pretty well. It came second.
Yeah.
Third and fourth, we both have Gardevoir, the newer build of it, using the reversal energy. And we had Lost Box, of course, we managed to have a little bit. But then we saw Arceus with Umbreon again, but this was a really interesting build. This one really caught my eye.
Okay. Why is that?
Well, so typically when we see these Arceus Umbreon builds, it's usually we have like the traditional Arceus Duraludon plus something, right? Sometimes we'll do Umbreon, sometimes it won't be an extra Pokemon.
Okay.
But this time it was just Arceus, Umbreon, and Flying Pikachu.
Okay.
Really kind of the most common like tool in the deck.
Okay.
And I mean, it seemed like it worked out for them. They didn't have like there wasn't a lot like there's one Lugia in the top 8 in 8th place, and wasn't a whole lot in the top 32 that I saw.
Okay.
But Flying Pikachu keeps that in check anyways. But Duraludon's best matchup is Lugia. Most
Okay.
other decks these days use basic energies like Gardevoir.
Okay, cool. So just so we know, like, what is the advantage of Slacking and Flying Pikachu in that situation?
So Flying Pikachu is really good into Lugia because it hits Lugia for weakness.
Okay.
Duraludon is also good into Lugia, but people were kind of falling out of favor with the Flying Pikachu because Flying Pikachu VMAX's attack also prevents damage from basic Pokemon.
Okay.
So there's some more possible niche situations for it. People don't really play Flying Pikachu VMAX these days for the basic block as much. And then 7th, we had Arceus Duraludon with Umbreon again.
Okay.
Very popular deck in the top 8, and we finished with 1 Lugia V-Star.
Okay, right. So it's still holding in there, still scraping at that
barely.
bottom after, what was it, a month or two after rotation of its core engine?
Silver Diamond.
Yeah,
It's
that
still
was
holding
it.
in, but it's definitely fallen from grace.
Okay, cool. And so just over that, I didn't really hear a ton of that sort of Paldea sort of Pokemon in there. So it sounds like the meta is still very heavily focused on, what had happened before and stuff. So
Yeah, right now in terms of the impact Paldea Evolved has had, there's a handful of trainer cards that have been splashed into these, like for the Japanese Gardevoir. They didn't use Reversal Energy, which is the one that provides 3 energy to, I mentioned it last time, to Pokemon that are evolved, non-toolbox. So that sees some play, but the new Pokemon don't really see play. The new trainer, Iono, sees a lot of play, but for the most part, it's really just been a trainer set.
Okay, well, how does that speak to? I'm hearing a lot of sluggishness from the Pokemon community complaining about sluggishness of this sort of new generation's card sets. How do you feel about that and in that conversation?
I agree in a lot of ways, but I have a very optimistic outlook on it, though.
Okay.
Right now, it's rather sluggish, and in my opinion, the reason it's been so sluggish is because Sword and Shield it was a disaster.
Okay.
It's like we had these massive Pokemon with massive life. They get 2-shot or 1-shot sometimes.
Right.
You lose 3 prizes. That's half the game gone right there. And now we're still kind of in the consequences of that. We still have these strong Pokemon in play in format, and we see these Scarlet and Violet Mons. We see Paldea Evolve. Like I just said, I don't think there's a single Pokemon in that, like EX or at the very least, that is a relevant meta card, right?
Okay.
So to a lot of people that can be frustrating, they want to make a new exciting deck. The way I see it though is as soon as these Vs are out of format permanently, our next rotation or two, the game has a really bright future out of it.
Like coming into the EX era.
Exactly,
and
into
stuff
like
like
a
that,
pure Scarlet and Violet only era.
Yeah, so I mean, I think you're right about that. And so you were saying that the power creep had sort of gotten to a pretty high level when it came to the end of Sword and Shield era. Yeah.
Sword and Shield was power creep the era.
Yeah, okay.
There's always been some of that was like through the roof.
Yeah, and to speak to that, obviously, Pokemon is often seen as the power creep top 3 game for sure. Although, you guys are giving it a bit of a run.
I don't know anymore.
We'll get to that at some point. But yeah, no, it's interesting to hear that and to hear that that rotation is coming around. But when is this next rotation that's going to basically scoop out everything except for the latest generation?
So from my understanding, it isn't the next rotation. It would be the rotation after that. So it should be
Right.
2 years, unless Pokemon decides to make an opinion otherwise. You know, there is. It's not the first time they've made changes to rotation. Our most recent rotation, they delayed it by about 6 months.
Right. Okay. Which is pretty wild to think about, especially considering you're talking about another 2 years of these straggling superpowered cards.
Of course, for like people who haven't been playing the game very long, I mean that's a long time. That's 2 years. I mean, even for me, I took a break, came back, and I've been back for about 2 years now. That's basically how long I came back to the game. And to think that it's all of your return time again, just for it to be to what I think will hopefully be a healthy thing, but you really don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's really no chance of like a ban list or anything coming, eh?
I don't think Pokemon has banned a card in I don't know how long.
I mean, that's just wild to me.
The last card that was Lysander's trump card, which literally just shuffled your entire discard into your deck except for Lysander's trump card.
Oh wow.
Right. Which is considering the diversity in the format we just spoke to, really impressive. Like it's impressive that you're seeing what is it, like 8 or 9 different
we don't look at Japan, but
literally like 7 different decks, 7-ish different decks, or at least 6 that are significantly different, more or less.
Yeah.
So it's impressive that that's the way that the game is being balanced.
Oh yeah, it even just a few formats ago, you would see like silver tennis. You'd see over half a top 8 is Lugia, and if it wasn't over half a top 8 was Lugia, that was like shocking. It was over half a top 8 was something else instead.
All right, so
whoever beat Lugia that day.
Okay, so that's on the competitive play side, but I also hear there's some controversy in the competitive play area as well. Something that's raised some eyebrows in professional competitive play.
Yeah, there was a bit of a controversial topic at North America International Championships in top 8. There was a disqualification while they were doing the seeding for top 8.
Okay.
A player by the name of Toby Clark, a well-known player, they were doing deck checks before top 8 as they do, and they noticed that. So for context, he plays. In his deck, he has 3 copies of a card called Iona, which is one of the new trainers from the set. Very impactful card. It's hand disruption. It can limit how many cards your opponent has in hand. Like it's very, very strong. And 2 out of these 3 Ionas in his deck had very clear visible damage to the sleeves. If I had to describe the damage, though, it didn't really look like, to me, damage from like play. It wasn't like the sides were scuffed or like one of the corners were like bent. It was like, imagine you took a card, you put it in the sleeve, and you push it down, and then you took the top of the sleeve between the card, and you just like folded it over and creased it. It's really questionable. It's questionable.
It's questionable. Yeah.
I could see possibly
but they're both the same card.
It's both the same card. It's not all 3, but it's 2 of the same card. It's a little suspicious, but I could see. I've heard some people's takes on it. That's the kind of damage that could occur, for example, during resleeving a deck.
Right.
And Toby says he, before top 8, wanted to resleeve his deck. It makes sense, make sure there's no damaged sleeves or anything. Possibly could have damaged them in the process. But he was disqualified from top 8, and some people aren't happy about that. It's been a bit of a controversial thing.
Right. Was he a very well-known quantity prior to this event?
He's not like one of the most well-known, but he's a player that if you saw in the top 8 wouldn't be
surprising to see.
Exactly.
Okay.
He's
right.
a very solid player.
All right. Well, check those sleeves then before we put it into play. Right. There you go. There's some lessons there. What else is going on?
Well, they announced our 2024 regional championship circuit. This is basically where everything's going to be.
Okay. Right.
It's pretty. They usually kind of just use the same locations over and over again. We have Pittsburgh this year. I don't think they've been there for a while though.
Okay.
We have Sacramento. There's Toronto. Barcelona.
All the usual suspects.
Peoria. All the usual suspects.
Yeah, it's not like choosing an Olympic city.
Exactly.
No.
Only if
Although they should campaign it like that.
We got Moncton this year?
I wish. We have Toronto in Canada. We only got 1 in Canada.
I'm not allowed back there.
Okay.
But that's pretty much it in terms of the competitive side of things. We do have some new news regarding product as well.
Okay, well, I mean, there's something you've been teasing for the last little while. There's 151 coming, which is basically the Pokemon set that has all the originals in it.
Yeah, Pokemon 151 is officially out in Japan.
Okay,
as
right.
of the 16th of June.
Okay, cool.
So
spoiler lists are completely out and everything like that.
We renew all the cards in the set except for secret rares post-release. Anyways. Okay. But Japan's pretty good at keeping secret rares actually secret, so now we know those before we get it, but Japan didn't, so that's kind of fun.
What kind of secret rares is this set giving us?
So these secret rares are all just alternate art printings of cards already in the set.
All right.
There's some really nice looking ones. I definitely recommend looking into them, but that's usually how they do it. They have like the main set list. We had, how many was there? I think there's 210 cards total, but that's including the secret rares, and that's like 70 cards.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot.
All right.
Jesus.
Hello.
Oh, wow.
That's almost half of all 151
That's-
Pokemon.
There's
Yeah.
165 cards in the set, and 165 cards before secret rares, and then 210 total.
Right. Okay.
That's some magic
Oh, wow.
numbers right
Yeah,
there.
With some variants and
Come on.
stuff as well.
Yeah.
But I've noticed that Pokemon has lent into that sort of variance and like special alt art thing a little bit heavier than what they had in recent years. Like, I've been seeing a lot of cards come out with like sort of like almost full art, rather than, the box.
Oh yeah, it's not uncommon to see, like, you'll see an EX come out, you'll see an alt art of the EX, you'll see a special illustration where of the alt of the, and then sometimes you may even see another one depending on the card, right?
Right.
It helps keep things under control for players,
Mhm.
because collectors don't care about the $2 base art for this EX when there's the really fancy version, right?
It's an optional buy into bling out thing.
Exactly.
Which Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh we've seen a bunch of times over the, especially in recent years.
Yep.
There's some nauseating numbers I've seen come out of Commander
Oh,
Masters, but we'll
God,
jump into that in a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, you were saying.
So we know all the 151 now.
Yep.
There's really nothing much more exciting than what we want to report for that.
Mhm.
Ruler the Black Flame officially revealed for Japan. That's just our Obsidian Flame set.
Okay.
It's not the first time it's happened, but it's very uncommon that Japan gets the official titles and all that for their sets before we do.
Okay.
Or sorry, gets it after
After
we
we
do.
do?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Usually we get it way after.
Okay, so Pokemon Company International's working a little harder and getting
I think they
information
are.
out.
I think
Okay,
they want to
interesting.
involve the international audience a little more.
Okay.
And I think that's what they really should be doing.
Okay, fantastic. Well, like I said, I've seen them build a lot of like obviously Western unique products and stuff like that. So.
Exactly.
But speaking of products, what else? Anything else coming down the line that we should be keeping an eye out in the future?
Well, in terms of Obsidian Flame, that's our 151's coming out soon. That is out for us in September.
Okay.
We have our August set in Obsidian Flames.
Mhm.
So far, we've had a few cards confirmed for that. Nothing new. Basically, everything that we went over last time, plus those EX battle decks, have now been, incorporated into our main set, like the Decidueye EX and all
Yeah,
that.
that's
Just
right,
really
yeah,
low
yeah.
impact stuff. But it's in the set. So we
Of
know
course. Okay, cool.
that. Other than that, there is some interesting Pokemon though in 151.
Okay. What stands out specifically for that sort of set?
So for 151, there's Clefable EX. I believe I went over it last time, but it's been on the forefront of my mind with how strong Gardevoir seems to be.
Okay.
The main draw to it seems to be is just it's an EX that makes it so when your Pokemon have any basic psych attached to them, they can retreat for free.
Okay.
Which has, with my testing of Gardevoir, it's one of its largest weaknesses.
Right,
It's very hard to fit things in there as is, and switch cards are not commonly put in it.
Mm-hmm. And it's Clefable EX, right?
Clefable EX.
So is that is evolution though, or is
That
it?
is the stage one.
Yeah.
The Clefairy and the Clefable.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So it is a little bit harder to run that as that.
Yeah,
goes.
I don't think it's going to be in every deck kind of thing, but it's a tech you could consider.
Okay.
Obsidian Flame, there's some interesting stuff too.
Mhm.
Comparable to what we currently have is Toadstool EX,
Okay.
which is the grass EX. It evolves from I forget what it's called. It's the new Scarlet and Violet version of Tentacruel and Tentacool.
Oh yeah. I've
There's
seen that.
Toadstool and Toad. Yeah,
Like they're like ghosts or something
It's
Psychics?
like
I can't remember.
brown.
Brown? Oh yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that.
The cards are grass.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
So it has an ability that's similar to an ability we currently have in play. It's Protective Mycelium. Prevents all damage, all effects of attacks on the Pokemon that have energy attached to it, period.
Okay.
We have Espeon VMAX, which does something similar specifically for psychic energy.
Mhm.
But this is a two-prizer that does it for any energy,
Okay.
including special energy.
Okay, so it sounds like there's going to be some decently
it can
competitive
see
stuff
some
popping out in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah,
or next
there's-
couple of months, I guess.
Other than that, there's some new EX decks we're getting. So a new style of battle decks. We call them deluxe battle decks.
Okay.
We have right now our level 1 products. This is just like intended for like brand new players who don't know anything about the game. They grab it. Then we have our league battle decks, which are like a tier 3 product, which is how they call a level 3 product, which is just you could open one of these, take it to a weekly or an event, and possibly see some success. Like they're fairly well done. They need some work, but they're fairly well done.
Right.
This is a level 2 product. It's much better than the level 1 product. It's a lot of flaws with them. You know, it's Meowscarada EX and Quackaball EX, which are both Pokemon that are, you know, in our Paldea evolves at very low impact Pokemon.
Right. Okay.
But there's some good staple trainers that might be worth getting, and the price point's pretty cheap. It's like $10 US.
Well, that's not too bad. And
Right.
obviously, they're not going to throw in there, you know, the heavy hitters from that set.
Oh,
into
exactly.
The EX slots
But if
there.
you're a new player, you need some Ultra Balls, you need like staple trainers and all that. They're a pretty good value.
Yeah. And is this product line exclusive stateside? Like it is
I believe so.
Or
Yes.
like at least, you know, outside of Japan.
Yeah,
like,
Japan typically prefers just to leave everything to the EX battle decks
Yeah.
and other promotional material.
Okay.
But that's pretty much it for Pokemon.
All right, sweet. I feel like I've been caught up. Like, it sounds like there's been some good competitive moves, and I mean, as I've said from the beginning, I've been super excited for 151. You know, nostalgia. You know, I'm wearing a Pokemon red shirt, of course, right now. So I'm excited to see what comes of that. I don't love the fact I can't buy just regular booster boxes of it, but you know, as
It's a
these
little
special,
disappointing. But
yeah, as these special sets go, I should definitely check that out when I get a chance. All right, so we're caught up on Pokemon. Let's jump down. Let's go from one part of Japan to another. Let's try Yu-Gi-Oh now. So, Parker, I'm gonna let you take it away. Give me a little bit of inside information on what's going on in the world of Yu-Gi-Oh, not Dragon Ball. Although
All
feel
right.
free to stick some information there.
Fine, I guess. All right, so we got a bit of tournament results for Yu-Gi-Oh.
Okay.
So we had the European Nationals like last week, and it was won by Jessica Robinson on Rika, which is kind of an unknown deck. Not many people play it. It's
Okay.
really powerful, but for some reason nobody really tests against it.
Okay.
And ends up winning this event. It's the only one in the top 8.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Kind
So
of
like
out of like the left field, right? Is that
yeah,
wrong?
really. Like she just plays this deck pretty much. So, like she took it to like
okay.
the last tournaments and the
Okay.
ones before
So
that.
it's not even a meta choice. It's just basically like
I think-
just like this deck, and I'm just gonna.
It might be a little bit of both because,
Right.
Yeah.
like I don't even know exactly how the deck plays because I haven't played against it before.
Okay.
But like it does, I know it does some really powerful things. Like it tributes your opponent's monsters for cost, which is a really powerful interaction in Yu-Gi-Oh. And yeah, so it was able to take it all. And
See that type of thing happen in Magic sometimes. where,
Yeah,
like,
it's really cool.
Off meta decks that people just aren't sideboarding against.
yeah,
Will see success at some tournament, and then everyone starts sideboarding against them. But also,
yeah,
everyone
and then it
starts
doesn't do
playing them,
as well at the next
and
tournament.
then they just get worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it starts to shift around the
Yeah.
craziness, but it
Like-
never
Yeah.
was supposed to be there in the first
You'll
place.
you'll see Bogles or whatever, Infect, whatever
Yeah.
random deck of the week is. Yeah.
Yeah, so the other top 8 was 3 Kashtira, which is still going strong after the ban list, still very meta. We got 1 Branded, 1 Dragon Link, and 2 Labyrinth, which is another really powerful deck, but it's more of a trap deck. The other ones are like combo decks, but Labyrinth is like a trap deck, which actually had a little bit of controversy in the German Nationals, because in the finals of the tournament, the Labyrinth player was able to go first, and she set a trap card, like with one of the effects, and the trap card, it says you can tribute a dark monster on your side of the field, and then you call spells or traps. Your opponent reveals their hand and has to get rid of all their spells or traps, whichever one you called. So against their opponent, they had 5 spells in their hand. So this one trap card ripped 5 spells out of their hand.
Isn't that like your
And
entire hand in Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah, so they drew another one for turn, and then they had
Okay,
another
it's like-
trap one to deal with that. So
Oh.
yeah, and it doesn't even end there because for
Yeah.
the next like 2 or 3 turns, they have to reveal their card that they draw, and if it's a spell, it just goes to the grave immediately.
Oh no.
So a lot
that
of
is
people,
brutal.
are asking for this card to be banned because it's just so powerful and like it just wins you the game on the spot pretty much.
Right.
Do you think it's going to be banned?
I don't want to get hit by this, so I would like it to be
Yeah.
banned.
But do you think it will? Because if it won't, I'm buying this deck.
Yeah.
I'm getting into Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know very much about Konami, but if there's anything I know about Konami, is they love money. So how
Yeah.
expensive are the cards in that set?
It's actually like I think I saw the price point of the Labyrinth deck was around $400 or $500 for the whole thing.
Is that high or low for Yu-Gi-Oh? I forget.
That's pretty much average.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a chance. There's a chance.
Yeah, there is a chance. Yeah,
can
I mean,
skip rent.
a lot of people are complaining about it, but then there is another tournament. I think it was the same person. Jessica Robinson was in a game where she won because she drew a Harpy's Feather Duster, which destroys all spell traps your opponent controls. So their opponent set 5 cards in the back row. Harpy's Feather Duster, they just scooped the game. It's over.
Amazing.
Lost 5 cards. in a
Yeah,
game.
so now we have trap decks complaining about Harpy's Feather Duster, and we have non-trap decks complaining about Epidemic Virus.
Right.
What a quality game. Just turn 1, here's the counter to your deck's
Yeah,
Pronax.
and it's just a one-of because you can only play one.
Yeah,
it's
a
limited to
one-of.
one.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
But everybody's playing it because
Yeah.
it's the ultimates
Yeah.
and a board wipe for a spell and trap, right?
Exactly.
So, you got to be prepared for that.
Yeah, there was a lot of debate, like, well, you shouldn't just rely on only traps for your end board. Like, you should have, like, a mix-up so you don't get blown out by this one card. But, yeah, that's kind of the discussions that's going on right now in Yu-Gi-Oh!
Right.
And then
Jessica sounds like she's got the talent to go all the distance.
yeah, she's doing really well lately.
Awesome.
And then, so the North American Nationals are happening this weekend right now, so I don't really have any information about that one right now. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the tournament stuff that I have, but it was really exciting. I loved hearing about all the controversy and all people, like, getting mad at each other on Twitter and stuff. That's always fun.
Controversy's gone. That's how many tweets you can see.
Oh, yeah.
Limits to content.
Yeah, exactly.
Just move to threads.
Yeah, we'll move on to threads. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, so we got some new information about some cards as well. So we got a new archetype called the Snake Eyes archetype.
Okay.
So it's kind of part of the new lore. So we got like a new main character basically in the lore.
Okay.
Like
a new, young, like a Yukimoto type, is that what you mean?
It's like an archetype in cards. So before this, we had Fallen of Albaz, which was one that went on for a while, and then after that, we got Visa Starfrost.
Right.
And now we're getting this one is Dia Bellstar.
Okay.
And it's pretty interesting. It's like you send a card from your hand or field to summon it, and whenever it's sent to the graveyard, you can send another one to bring it back. So it pretty much never dies. You can just always bring it back. Right. And then whenever it's special summoned, you can set a card from your deck. So it gets advantage as well.
And then you get this special summon.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's really cool. And
so basically just tutor for anything and then set it.
It's not any card. It has to be like a specific. It has to be like a tainted treasure, I think is what it's called right now.
Okay.
So you can only set those cards, but they're still pretty good. Like they can get you some advantage or some interruptions. And then the Snake Eyes archetype kind of like goes with it because they have like some interlapping cards, so you can search one of the Tainted Treasure cards, which is also a Snake Eyes card.
Okay.
So they work together like that. And the Snake Eyes cards, they're like a Pyro deck, which is very rare for Yu-Gi-Oh! We don't get very many like good Pyro decks, which is like the type, not like the Fire or whatever, but like Pyro decks, like pretty much never get support. And now we're actually going to get one that seems to be meta because a ton of people have been doing testing with it already. It just got revealed like a few days ago, but people already have done like, this is my end board and like, this is what we can do. And I've even tested it a little bit and it seems to get a lot of advantage just for doing like a one card combo, which is very promising for especially with a brand new archetype like in the lore. Like we don't get, usually it takes like a couple of sets of support before we get like
breakthroughs to sort of a playable deck.
And this one seems strong already.
It's only one card.
I mean, one card gets you a lot of stuff in Yu-Gi-Oh.
It's not even like a combo, just do the card effect.
Yeah, but in Pokemon, you just I don't want my hand. I'll just discard it all and draw 7. Why not?
Exactly.
Yeah, we don't have that option in Yu-Gi-Oh. Yeah, that's really fun. I'm excited for that kind of stuff. And then we have some new sets. So one of the sets that just came out was the Battles of Legend Monstrous Revenge. It had a lot of reprints in it. Okay. It's like one of those sets that's all ultra rares or secret rares. And then they also have some Starlight rares in this one. And it has some really good reprints, like a lot of really welcome reprints. And then there's a few new cards too, but they're not like amazing. But I think a lot of people are appreciative of the reprints, like the Brave Engine was one that was really expensive that got reprinted, and then the Punk archetype, which I talk about on here all the time, got reprinted. So that one's exciting too.
Because these sets are, ultra rare, super rare, basically just all shiny cards. Do you see a big corrosion in price when they get reprinted at that level of rarity?
Well, I was taking a look today, and the Rite of Air Messier card is like $22, and it was printed as an ultra rare like a long time ago, and it was like it was like $60 at some point, so like it is a lot cheaper now.
That's a pretty significant drop.
Yeah, it is a lot better now. We also have Duelist Nexus is coming out this month in a couple of weeks. That's another main set. We're getting a lot of pretty good support, like the Manadium, which is another archetype I like a lot. We're getting Rescue Ace, which is a good, it's like a firefighting archetype.
That's right, that's been around before, right?
Yeah, but we're getting some good support that's going to make it like really playable and really strong, so I'm excited to play that. And then we're getting the new Illusion type, which I talked about before. It's like the new type. It's pretty much only one archetype. It's not really like its own type yet. It's pretty much just an archetype, but that's kind of exciting. And then I talked about Pearly as well. They're getting some good support as well, even after getting hit for seemingly not much of a reason last ban list.
Is that the evolving cat, basically?
Yeah,
Like
the
cat
Eevee.
thing?
Eevee
Yeah,
pretty much is the
Eevee
easiest comparison, yeah. And then we're getting the new tournament pack as well this month in like 2 weeks. We still don't know very much about it. We know one card from it. It's just the Ultimate Rare Branded Fusion, which is good for branded players, of course. They don't get enough reprints. They have their whole deck is pretty much ultra rare at this point.
Right.
Or Ultimate Rare.
Well, you said that's an extra spicy card where you can basically just fuse from your deck or something like that?
Yeah, you fuse 2 cards from your deck, yeah. It's crazy.
Okay, well, I'm glad at least they're getting it. Now, tournament packs, do they have a similar product line in Japan?
Yes, I believe so.
Right, but it wouldn't be the same listing.
Yeah, I think it's different. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we only know about Branded Fusion, which is kind of weird because, I don't know, it's coming out not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday, and we still don't know anything about it. So, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of exciting whenever you open the pack and you don't know what's actually in it.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't happen a whole lot in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah. You have to actually try nowadays to avoid spoilers and spoiler season and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. We're getting a new Fire set as well. There's not a whole lot of exciting stuff in here for me anyway. It's just the reprints of the Salamangreat cards and stuff, which was it was a good archetype whenever it came out a few years ago, but right now it's not amazing.
So the entire set just consists of only fire typed cards.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it might be good if you want to play that kind of stuff. I know I just said the Pyro deck is going to be good, so there might be 1 or 2 cards from that will be relevant in the future, but that's not going to be for a while. And then in September is actually going to be a really big month for Yu-Gi-Oh! We got a lot of really exciting stuff. We have the Pot collection, which I talked about before.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is the Pot of Greeds and all that. So you get the actual figures of the little pots, and it comes with all the cards as well. So 1 of each card, which is really good because some of them are still expensive.
Right. Pot and most of those, I assume most of those cards are restricted anyway. So 1 per copy per deck.
Pot of Greed is banned. Pot of Desires is at 2, and that's about the only ones I think that are hit on the list right now.
So you need more than just the one set for a replacement.
Yeah,
basically.
for sure.
Okay.
We also have the 25th anniversary tin, Dueling Heroes is what it's called, which is pretty much the replacement of the gold tin that they did last year. For the past 3 years, they had its tin where it kind of stacked up. It looked like the tablet in the TV show, the Yu-Gi-Oh tablet, so they did 1 different section of it each year, and now we're just getting a different one. It just has a bunch of different pictures of different cards and stuff on it, but usually these tins are really good for reprints. It's mostly reprints, and usually it's very good, so it's another exciting product. And we're getting a new structure deck as well, the Crimson King. It is the Red Dragon Archfiend archetype, so we're getting some new cards for that, which is the cards used by Jack Atlas in the Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds anime, if anyone is familiar with that.
I know what a Yu-Gi-Oh! Is.
A Yu-Gi-Oh?
I've seen a Yu-Gi-Oh! or 2 in my life.
Yeah?
I've seen anime.
Yeah, anime's good.
It's the king of games. Atlas. I can't remember. I think maybe I played him when the Switch game came out.
Oh, yeah.
But other than that, I don't remember.
The only thing I've seen from the Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime is when the 4 characters put their hands together and they have a smiley face drawn on them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, me and my friends did that once.
Yeah. There's another good meme from Yu-Gi-Oh! That I like to see. It's he draws a card, he's like, this card is useless.
You can see that meme anytime I play draft.
Yeah. And then
go on.
For October, we're getting a couple other things. So this is the Age of Overlord set, which is the next core set in October. So that is the one that has the new archetypes that I mentioned before, the Snake Eyes and the Diabell Star, which will probably be renamed by the time they come out in English. This is just what we have for now.
You said core set, and I know that's a different thing in Yu-Gi-Oh, but I miss them. Oh, man. I wouldn't have had all this bullshit to talk about. The summer set's out. It's great. It's got a bunch of simple cards that are affecting formats well.
No, those days are long behind.
They're
us.
long gone.
You gotta sell products. No more just vanillas impacts anymore.
And then the last thing is October, we're also getting a 2-player starter set, which is something very new for Yu-Gi-Oh! So we get 2 decks, and they both come with 4 card extra decks, I think.
Okay.
I think one of them is a Synchro deck, and one of them is an XYZ deck. So you get to try out 2 different archetypes, 2 different ways of playing the game. It's gonna be.
Is that
we don't.
uncommon for Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah, we
Those
don't.
kind of
We
products are
never
really,
get that kind of
really
stuff
common.
for Yu-Gi-Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember a time ever, especially not an early Yu-Gi-Oh, where there was a two-player product like put out like that.
Yeah.
Basically, getting people into the game.
Yeah, so it's pretty unknown how it's going to be. Like, we don't know any of the cards. We don't know if it's going to be like, if the 40-card decks are going to be all like one-ofs like they usually do in the starter decks, or if they're going to actually give you like play sets of stuff or anything like that. But yeah, I'm really excited to see what it's like. Might be able to pick it up, play with my girlfriend or something.
That's
It
nice.
should be fun. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, it seems like a good way to get into it, I guess, right?
Yeah,
Well, I mean, the
exactly.
interesting thing is you said one's like an XYZ deck, which
Yep.
is a special type of summoning,
Yep.
and the other one's a synchro deck, which is another special type of
Yep.
summoning, which at the basis level of Yu-Gi-Oh is relatively advanced strategies. Like, just like, it's not just, create your monster and attack sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's really digging in this idea of alternate summoning and stuff like that we've
Yeah.
seen in Yu-Gi-Oh evolve over the last couple of years.
I believe they even mentioned that they have like a scripted duel where they'll kind of take you through how everything works, but you don't have to like do it every time, obviously. But yeah, they'll kind of like guide you through how everything is happening.
So you don't like miss triggers and all that, I guess, right? That's a pretty big thing.
I mean, you're probably gonna miss triggers anyway. Just to be fair.
Would you have to stack the deck for that to work?
Yeah, I'm curious how it do it.
Huh.
I don't know.
Maybe
if
it
like
comes
they
stacked.
give you like the first 5 cards in your
Like a
hand or
sample
something.
hand or something?
Yeah.
You play a sample hand?
Yeah,
Like an entire
I could
game?
see it being something like that because
Yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh's usually over in like 1 or 2 turns. But
Right, I forgot, yeah, you only have to stack a couple cards.
That is the whole turn.
Yeah.
One turn if you're Jessica.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
I know back in the day, Magic used to have those 2-player starter decks as well, where it would come with that little notice on it. It's like, do not shuffle these. Just open them up, put them on the table, and draw from there, and that would sort of simulate your first ever game. So we'll see which.
They actually had a starter deck again recently for Lord of the Rings that wasn't Commander.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, weird.
I know.
I didn't even see that.
It had 2 legendary creatures on the face, obviously.
Right.
But they weren't Commander cards.
Right. Was it just a standalone product, or was it like a
Just a
two-player
standalone.
thing? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
I think it's because a lot of new players are just getting in for Lord of the Rings anyway. So
Okay.
may as well.
Oh, for sure.
sell
Well,
something
before we
to play.
we jump in with Lord of the Rings, let's wrap up with Yu-Gi-Oh here.
That's pretty much it that I have. I kind of went through it a little bit fast. I thought didn't think I'd go that quickly, but yeah, that's most of what I have for Yu-Gi-Oh stuff right now.
Yeah. Okay, well, we're seeing a little bit of a, not as crazy times as we've had in previous months. Now that we're hitting
and
summer.
the format is still really diverse. Like, there's a couple other cards that are like decks that I can think of that could compete with these other decks in this top 8. So like, we still do have a pretty like wide open format. It's just the trap cards that break your whole hand and Feather Duster that destroys a whole strategy. But that's the only thing that people are complaining about right now, which is not the worst thing, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Feather Duster has been a problem since day one. So
I mean,
if you're into Yu-Gi-Oh and you don't liking Feather Duster,
it was banned for the longest time, and they brought it back to 1.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Next back, Reggae or something.
Reggae's at 3 now, actually.
What?
Yeah.
That's just a complete well, interesting. I do want to know that you said you mentioned a lot of reprint sets, and we obviously talk about ban lists and stuff like that, and restricted lists. I think it's interesting that Yu-Gi-Oh has found this bizarre little comfort zone of where it has enough product support and gains enough player interest to be able to support reprint set after reprint set after reprint set and insert these much needed reprints because it has this eternal format. There's no rotation like we were talking about with Pokemon, right? As a player, how does that make you feel? And then to pivot to that, obviously we've got a big reprint set coming out for Magic.
Yeah.
How do you engage with reprint products against new products? Would you just go out and buy a booster pack or a booster box of a reprint product, or would you specifically just wait for singles or something like that?
I've done before. I've done where I buy a bunch of the reprints, and sometimes I don't get what I want, and then I regret it. So I've kind of switched to just getting singles lately because it's just a lot easier. But I do really like it because but the only thing that I worry about is because sometimes they will reprint a card to sell it more, and then they'll ban it right after it's sold. After they do that, it's happened a few times that I can remember. So they just try to milk as much as they can out of it.
Right. They're like, we don't put it in here. We're not going to be able to sell. And,
exactly.
Last chance opportunity.
That's like Wizards of the Coast level grimy.
I mean, Konami, don't underestimate Konami.
Oh yeah, you really should. I don't know much about Konami, but I play a lot of video games, and from the video game aspect, Konami is not Right.
They like money, as you put it earlier.
They like money.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
all
really.
the companies that we've talked about today definitely.
Oh, they all like money. They really like it.
Well, speaking of reprint sets, and I know you've got some other stuff to talk about with Lord of the Rings and stuff, but we've got Commander Masters coming down the line. Did you want to jump into that initially while we're on the subject of reprints?
I mean, I don't want to, but I can. I don't like Commander Draft at all. The only thing that really interests me in the set is interests me about reprint sets anyway is lowering prices for cards and obviously draft for reprint sets, and Magic is a lot of fun. A lot of them are really good formats. Commander Masters, I think people who like Commander Draft a lot of fun. The Commander players are going to enjoy the set.
Right.
I don't even know if it's going to lower any prices though, because it's going for like $500 or whatever.
Isn't that ridiculous?
Stupid prices, yeah. I think the new arts look cool, where it's just the blank one color background with like the profile shot of the legend. I think those look cool, but everyone hates them. So
Oh,
whatever.
like the
Ur Dragon one that was spoiled before, and there's new ones now.
They've done those in like more recent sets too, though, right? On other cards, or am I thinking something? Okay, I'm thinking something
I mean,
else.
there's like 80 versions of every card, so you could be right.
That's probably true.
I
Yeah.
just haven't seen them.
Not to know every single Magic variant that's going on.
Yeah, I know there's like like Skrull Defector Might has like an art that's like all white.
Oh
I don't know if
that
that's
was
the
a
same
different
thing.
type of treatment.
Oh, okay, so that's different.
Different thing. Yeah.
Looks very, very similar based on your description.
Yeah. No, I mean, we haven't really gotten that much new for this set, really. It's just expensive master set.
Yeah.
Another one.
Yeah, exactly. Which is again another reprint set, and now that Magic's obviously been dealing with Commander for almost over a decade now. And, just hammering home the internal format and constantly trying to reprint stuff. Obviously, Magic is capitalizing on it in a way that we have that's never been at this height before. But obviously, reprint. But the pricing being so high comparatively is just ridiculous.
It's not going to lower prices.
Yeah,
and since they're branded variants,
why would you reprint?
They don't
Isn't that
care
the
about
point of
lowering
reprint?
prices because Commander players will pay anything.
Yeah.
That is true.
They'll pay anything or they'll pay nothing. There's two camps.
Well, it feels like they're trying to preserve the prices of the things that they reprint so that they can reprint them again when the next reprint set comes down.
Exactly.
There's only, there's only probably 1% of cards that are really top cream of the crop in Commander. So you've only got so much reprint equity in your game.
Yeah.
Because once you make something like, and I'll give you a little bit of a segue here, like the Lord of the Rings set, which is disrupting, formats across the world, across the entire spectrum of the game. If you keep giving them more powerful things, guess what you have to reprint? Just the things that are the most powerful. So let's have you take it away. What else is going on?
Yeah, so let's get into Lord of the Rings. Going from Japan to New Zealand, I guess.
Yeah.
Second here, I feel like I lowered my chair first, and then yours was higher, so I'm gonna raise up for this. I'm talking.
We've
now,
elevated Nico and your opinions for the
all right. I'm above you all. So Lord of the Rings has officially released. The One Ring was found. After about a month or so of the set being out, it's found by a retail worker in Toronto. Got a PSA certified. It got a mint 9, not even a 10. It was curled when it came out. It probably didn't even deserve a 9.
Yeah. I've heard some argument as to what was the point of even giving it a grade, because if it's a 101.
Just to prove it's real, I guess.
Just
authentication. You could have put it through the wash. It's still probably.
It's still worth something.
Ridiculously
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was saying that if I opened it, I would Sharpie like something on it.
Yeah.
Because oh no, I don't sell it for $2 million. I sell it for like $500,000. Either way, that's unfathomable amounts of money to me. So I'm not, whatever. But yeah, it was sold, or not sold yet. He's held on to it, a bunch of offers for it, so we'll see what happens. That's all we kind of know right now.
Yeah, do you know what the prices are looking like for the offers? Last I heard it was like $2 million.
Yeah, there's been some offers
for
like I think the biggest offer like standing is like $1 million from a card shop in Spain. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. I'm sure it will go up and down.
I kind of hope that it gets thrown in a volcano, to be honest.
Yeah, there's still a chance it gets thrown in a volcano. But anyway, let's talk about the new cards, though.
Okay.
The new cards from Lord of the Rings that have affected formats, and I've got.
Quick question though.
Yes.
Just in regards to the One Ring being open, and I don't know if you're tracking this, but has there been any volatility with like now that this one ring has been found, the price of things like collector boxes, we were just talking about price before.
Yep.
Has that has the hype for that sort of diminished any, or not even noticeably?
I think a little bit, but there's so many good cards in this set, or
Okay.
not so many. There's a couple of really good cards in this set. For the most part, this set has not really impacted many formats, except for a few examples, which is why I only have 3 cards to talk about and 1 honorable mention.
Okay.
Usually new set comes out, there's 20 cards that are taking over formats.
Right.
This time it's not that way. So
Okay.
yeah, so just to get into our honorable mention, I guess I felt like I should mention it because it is seen some play. Is the new Samwise card.
Okay.
It's seen play in some 4-color food decks that have been in Modern for a while.
Right.
It's
Okay.
kind of adding to those. It's still under 1% of the meta,
Mhm.
but it is a potential deck that you could see. It's a 2/2 creature. Whenever you play a non-token creature, you make a food token. Food tokens are artifact tokens you can sacrifice to gain life.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mostly important, though, is that certain cards interact with food tokens, like as Miranda Dyson Kuldakar, whatever her name is. Sacrifice some
Oko
food.
and all that, right?
Oko's banned.
Yeah, I know he's banned, but
Banned.
he does in fact interact.
Yes, he does. He does care about food. Like Asmo can kill creatures with them. Samwise can bring stuff back to your hand from the graveyard if you sacrifice 3 food. So just kind of a food value deck that is gonna see some more play now that this card's out. It was seen play before, but it's not really that impactful. The main 3 cards I have to talk about. Number 1 is going to be Delighted Halfling.
Okay.
This is a 1/2 creature. It's a halfling. It costs 1 green. It can tap for colorless mana, so it's a mana dork. We've seen these all the time. Or it can tap for 1 color of any color, but you can only use it for legendary spells.
Oh.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a Birds of Paradise, but only for legends.
Yeah.
Being 1/2 is really important for this, which means it doesn't get killed by Wrenn and 6. It doesn't get killed by a bunch of deal 1 damage to things effects that are pretty common in Modern right now. Especially Wrenn and 6 is the main one. It also makes Wrenn and 6 uncounterable. It makes Grist uncounterable. It
Right,
makes
of course.
the One Ring uncounterable, which I'll get to. It's pretty much been good everywhere people expect it to be good. People expected it to see play, as well as in the newer versions of the 4/5 color Omnath money pile decks, which I'm going to get to later because those have changed quite a bit.
Okay.
So yeah, Delighted Halfling is seen play. I think it's a healthy card for the format generally, except for the one exception, which I'll get to. Yeah, it's seen play where people expected it to. Next card I have to talk about is Orcish Bowmasters. This is a 1/1 for 2 with flash. You can play it at any time on your opponent's turn. Whenever it enters battlefield, or whenever your opponent draws their whenever your opponent draws a card other than the first one they draw each turn, it deals 1 damage to any target, and you amass 1. So you either make a 1/1 orc, or you make your 1/1 orc bigger if you already have one.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw that in some draft. That card's really dumb.
It is pretty insane. It's actually doing really good things in Modern because it was keeping down the previous number 1 deck, Murktide Regent, this red-blue ridiculous deck that just plays everything. It kills Ragavan, it kills a bunch of their creatures, it punishes them for drawing cards, which is what that deck loves to do. So it's seen a lot of play in sideboards and even some main deck. Murktide used to be number 1. It's now the number 6 deck in the metagame on Enter the Goldfish. It still is a super strong deck. It's insane, and it's still a pretty high skill stealing deck. So skilled players with the deck are still going to be able to play around it.
Yeah, I saw some interesting decks that were just they kind of went for a black, mono black. But it has Orcish Bowmasters and Peer into the Abyss in there just as a possible
Why
two-card
not?
combo.
The other place it's seen play is in Legacy, Magic's older format to Modern. Vintage is the older one, not seen play in Vintage. What's interesting about it in Legacy, though, is that basically same type deck, red-blue Murktide deck is also the best deck in Legacy.
Okay.
And whereas in Modern you see the other decks playing Bowmaster to deal with that deck, what you're seeing in Legacy is that deck splashing black for Bowmaster to beat the other versions of that deck.
Right.
The best,
so it's countering itself, basically.
The best deck in Legacy right now is Grixis Murktide, where you're playing Bowmaster to deal with the other Grixis Murktide decks. It is.
Wow.
Oh, the beauty of trading card game meta.
Yeah,
especially one with a format that's 30 years old now.
Yeah, it is pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, I think it is a ridiculously strong card. Despite that, I think its impact on Modern specifically is pretty healthy in keeping, Ragavan down, basically. Because ultimately, Ragavan is the more degenerate card.
Right.
Always.
Yeah.
I can't believe it's legal. It's not even legal in Legacy, and it's still, it's legal in Modern. Whatever.
Did somebody say publishers like money?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. But the real card we have to talk about is the One Ring, not the 1/1 ring, just the card itself, the One Ring.
Right.
It is ridiculous. So the One Ring, it is a 4 mana artifact. When it has indestructible, so you can't destroy it. Enters the battlefield, you gain protection from everything until your next turn. You can tap it from everything. You can tap it to draw a card, then put a burden counter on it, and then you draw a card for each burden counter on it. And then at the beginning of your upkeep, you lose life for each burden counter on it.
Right.
Where you lose at the beginning of your upkeep?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's like the corruption is the more you utilize it, the more.
Yeah, that's tough.
Now that might not sound like much card advantage to you.
Oh no! See, I've seen this card in play. Even to me, it looks like
disgusting.
even to me, it looks like.
Meanwhile, there's stars in Parker's eyes over there. Going, oh, those cards are off.
Yeah. It is gross. Especially with Delighted Halfling now in the format. If you play Delighted Halfling turn 1, turn 2 you play whatever, turn 3 you play the One Ring, it's uncounterable, you gain protection from everything, it's indestructible. You start drawing cards. Oh no, it's dealing me too much damage. Oh, I've drawn another One Ring. I'll cast it to get protection from everything so I don't take that damage. Or I can it's a legendary, so you can only have one. Or I just keep this one and lose the other one and reset the counters on it.
Run like
When you say that,
or whatever, and then you just heal every time you draw a card anyways, right?
so protection from everything is like all of your cards can't be interacted with, or
Can't
just like you as the player?
Everything.
Okay.
And you.
Oh wow! So it kind of reminds me of like Cold Wave in Yu-Gi-Oh, which is like a banned card that says your opponent can't activate spells or traps this turn.
Right.
You should tell Wizards that Konami banned that one.
Yeah. No, I fully expect this card to get banned. It is ridiculous. The best deck in Modern right now is definitely 4 or 5 color Omnath decks that are just running 4 copies of the Ring. But it's seen play in every deck that can play it.
I mean, why wouldn't you play it, right?
Yeah, why wouldn't you play it? Like, you know, it's like every deck that isn't like built to beat the Ring or just has an alright match against it. Like Scam does okay against it. Rakdos Scam is alright against it. But like, you know, every deck other than that, like Tron, obviously is going to play the Ring. You know what I mean? Even like, you know, like Jeskai Breach is playing the Ring. Like whoever wants to play the Ring.
Versions it's colorless as well.
Yeah, it's colorless. You know,
Just gonna...
It's just an artifact with it indestructible, right? Now I'm not super familiar with Modern. Is there anything that interacts with that?
Exile effects. It can't get around exile effects and.
But is there like artifact exile things in Modern that?
No, but there are just like general exile effects that are pretty popular. But the only problem is that they're kind of only in white.
Oh.
So you know,
so it's pretty limited then.
It is somewhat limited. Yeah. The main problem with Modern right now is that you play the Ring. What's the best answer to the Ring? It's your own Ring. You know what I mean? Oh, they played a 4-drop and I can't interact with them. What's the best thing I can do this turn?
Do it myself.
Do the same thing. Yeah, do the exact same thing. So these Omnath decks, you know, they play like, you know, they play 4 copies of Delighted Halfling, 4 Brennan 6. They play Teferi, and Teferi can even bounce the Ring back to their hand so they can get the indestructible, or get the protection again. It runs all the Ring. It runs just all the, you know, all the big evoke elementals. It just plays like the best cards in the format in a pile. People just call it money pile sometimes because it is really just a pile of expensive cards. The old version of the deck used to be an 80-card deck using the companion Yorion, who had that deck building requirement.
That's right.
You had to add 20 extra cards to your deck in order to have Yorion as your thing. So that's kind of how the deck was built originally. That card got banned because the Omnath deck was super strong. People tried it with 60 cards. It didn't work. People tried it with 80 cards without Yorion, and it worked a little bit. But the deck just kind of fell off after that, but now it's just back. It's just the best deck again.
Back because it's
like something, right?
Yeah, it is pretty ridiculous. I fully expect it to get banned. Yeah, it is gross. Modern is in a weird spot right now because other than that, I think the cards have had a really good impact on the format.
Okay.
Except for this one case.
This one Ring,
yeah,
ironically.
the one
Ring. I do like that under your notes, under the Ring, you just say "fuck sakes."
Yeah.
Behind the scenes there, it does literally just say.
It does say.
Yeah, you know what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
I'm interested. I again, we've moved to this, and I don't know. I'm pretty sure it affects Modern as well, but moved to this more. Long-winded sort of rotation with Standard and banning and stuff like that. So essentially, in theory, they wouldn't be able to ban this until next year's annual banning.
Yeah, I think they're going to do it in like a week or so.
Okay, right.
I hope.
Emergency ban.
Yeah, I think it will totally be an emergency ban. They'll probably let like the Pro Tour happen and see if it wins that. But I feel like it will. You know, it's going to be like another Hogak situation.
Right.
Not quite as powerful because there are decks that can't contest with it. But it's also just not fun to play against.
Does Magic usually limit cards? Like
No.
card counts is just either banned or
banned or 4 of. Yeah. Unless it's vintage where nothing is banned.
Yeah.
Except for one card they still had to ban because
they have restricted and limited and stuff like that.
But yeah.
Well, my question is, do we, even if they do ban it after the Pro Tour, is it bizarre to have a card that is so high profile in that set banned from that set? Especially considering, if I'm not mistaken, it's in every bundle as well. Like it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Like it's a card that anybody getting into the game is gonna have.
They've done things before where they were like, they're like, oh, we don't want to ban this card because it is like the money card of the set, right? So they'll ban other cards from that deck.
Yeah.
So like it happened when they didn't ban Hazoret when red was the best deck in like Hour of Devastation standard or whatever. They didn't ban Hazoret. They banned other red cards.
Right.
Because they didn't want to ban Hazoret because Hazoret was the cool big legendary creature.
It was the thing that was selling packs, really.
The only problem with that now is that there isn't really anything else they could ban. They could ban Delighted Halfling and that helps decks counter it, but it still doesn't hit the problem, really.
Well, it seems so splashable, right? Like, it's not like you have to build your deck around the ring. You can just put the ring in your deck.
Yep. And there's other ways to ramp into it, too, right? I think the answer is just banning the ring or Modern just sucks.
Well, considering it came out as like this modern focused set, it sucks that this is the impact that such an iconic card has had on that format.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, will live forever in Commander too. It's a super good Commander card. It's also gonna live forever in every power cube ever.
Okay.
They're all gonna have a one ring deck now if they're playing the best cards, right? It is kind of unfortunate because you do want to see like the big splashy card from the set be like good, but it's just too good. It's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, they put too many eggs in that one basket.
They really
so to
did.
Speak. Yeah.
And it is also very interesting how, this is a set that people are seeing as a very high power level, despite there only being like 3 really good cards in this set. Yeah.
They're just that powerful.
Yeah, they're just super powerful.
But I mean, again, like you typically, comparing it to the other modern sort of sets, because it's supposed to be, a pseudo modern Horizons 3, basically. Yes. Do you think that power level here, on average, is comparable to either of those other two sets, or do you think that they were doing better as far as power level and overall scope goes?
Yeah, like as far as those sets are concerned, like I think those sets have done more damage to Modern, because it's kind of like irreversible damage. They can reverse this damage if they ban the right cards.
Right.
Modern Horizons is kind of like too much. Right. Like you don't see a Modern deck without like half the cards being from Modern Horizons at this point. It's ridiculous. Yeah, like I think this is better, and other than this, the set has been good. Even like Delighted Halfling and Orcish Bowmaster, those are the type of cards that could have been in Modern Horizons 1 and 2 as like a positive card for the format, if not super powerful. Yeah, but like it's comparable in like the immediate impact in a way, but it is better, I'd say.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, it's better than those others. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's wheel back for a second.
Sure.
I think this is a little bit of an interesting experiment in the world of trading card games, especially in Magic's camp. But I would love to get the takes from the other guys on it as well.
I'll go down to your level for this one.
Okay, yeah. Get back on our level. All right. So my question is, how do you feel as somebody who's pretty entrenched in the Magic world? How do you feel that the mission of this set has gone? Obviously the Universe Beyond was about to bring more eyes to Magic the Gathering, bring more players in. Obviously we're talking about a set that is relatively complex.
Yep.
So it's not exactly player friendly, although you have mentioned there is a new product out there that does sort of initiate people into it. Like, are you seeing more people or unfamiliar faces at events or like Friday Night Magics, or what's your takeaway on how Lord of the Rings and this first booster set for Universe Beyond has impacted the greater Magic brand?
Yeah, I think I think overall for most players it has been fine. Modern is a very big competitive format, but in a lot of ways it is only a small slice of what Magic is.
Okay.
Commander is huge, obviously. Casual play is just huge anyway. Even, limited and stuff are also big. And I think it has had a good effect for new players on that. I think a lot of people are coming in, Same way you got a lot of new players for Commander with like the Warhammer decks. Even if they don't play Magic, they might just buy the decks because they're a fan of the property. I think similar type of thing with Lord of the Rings. I think they made money on the set.
Definitely. I mean, when you put basically a giant lottery ticket in one of your packs, I mean,
and that is the main thing. I'm sure there's a lot of non-Magic players who started buying packs just for their chance at that too.
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, I've seen content creators who have never drifted towards the Magic world to obviously, doing it.
Yeah. Even like CBC News posted when the One Ring got opened.
Oh,
like,
really?
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. Like I think it's had a general good impact for Wizards on Magic as a whole. For like Modern and the what some of the set was designed for, I don't think it's had that much of an impact. I don't think new players are flocking to Modern that much. There are definitely some who maybe see like maybe see the like food deck and think, oh, that looks fun. Or even just new players to the format in general. Established Magic players moving to it.
It really seems like they wanted to get just new players into Magic in general, less than getting like just the fact that it was like, oh well, this is Modern legal. It's like, well, we got to make it legal for something, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's just like, well, that's the one it probably won't run.
Yeah. Well, look at
Yeah.
the track record.
Up different debate, but that was probably the thought record.
Yeah.
Now they play against the ring, and then you can't interact with them, and you just kill them. And that was a fun first game of Magic.
Yeah, if I was a new player and I had to play against the ring decks, I'd be disappointed.
I'd be very confused.
I'd be confused.
Yeah. How come you get to draw cards and I don't?
Yeah, exactly.
Because the ring's also tempting you still as well. Like, is that mechanic on that ring?
No.
Oh, okay, right.
The ring
so it doesn't
mechanic
even have that
even on that
drawback.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It has its own drawback.
Interesting. Yeah. The burden counters.
The burden
I guess.
counters.
Yeah. Which makes it feel so much less parasitic. So it does feel like it's going to be going in a bunch of other decks as well.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
I know. But yeah, that's kind of it for Magic. Other than the ring, everything's great.
All right. Well, I mean, that's
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it's Lord of the Rings.
It's Lord of the Rings. It's Lord of that particular ring. So that's excellent. So obviously, Lord of the Rings has seen success. That's probably the most positive I've had you speak about over the course of this podcast.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The episodes that we've had. That's probably the least of the worries.
I've just killed more Reggae fans, so I just feel better.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of,
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, so, well, I guess in that case, you know what? I'm going to throw to Parker. Parker, what is one thing from Dragon Ball that's going on this week?
Dragon Ball? We had an emergency ban list.
Oh, okay. Emergency ban.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's this card type in Dragon Ball called a super combo. It's free. It lets you draw a card and it gives your cards power. And there's a way to recycle it. Basically, it's a really powerful card. You play 4 in every single deck in the game, and there's a way to grab it back. And people thought that was too strong, so they banned the card that recycles it.
Okay.
And then there was another card that people have been doing some cheesy combos with. Basically, you could stick a big boss monster under this field card, and then you could play it for free, and then it would just win you the game. It didn't matter what color it was, pretty much.
Right, okay.
And, they changed it so you needed, like, all the same color to do that combo. And then people, of course, hours later figured out another way to do the combo, even with all the same color combo or energy. So yeah.
You could have been talking about Yu-Gi-Oh, and I wouldn't have known the difference.
Stuff like that.
Like, oh yeah,
yeah. Okay, well that's a little
new combo
insight to the world of Dragon Ball over this last couple of months. Dragon Ball Super, which I mean, if you said to me that game when it launched would be going 7 years later, almost 6 or 7 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was like 2017, 2018, something like that.
Yeah, we're on like set 21 now or something.
Yeah,
so
it's the one that just keeps on going. Obviously, it's got its dedicated fan base.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's what Magic does in a year.
Yeah.
21 sets.
Yeah, I never realized
it
was that old, actually. I didn't keep up with that. It's like I went to one of the stores one day and I saw a pack. I'm like, oh, that's cool, that new. They're like, no, it's a little old. I'm like, okay, well, I was probably like a year or two. Apparently, it's actually 7 years old.
Quite a few years old, for sure. And I mean, like, there's a couple of the games that are really starting to endure that long as well. And Bandai's really, like, blowing it out.
Oh, yeah, they're making as many card games as they can.
Yeah, well, I noticed that One Piece was number 3 ahead of Yu-Gi-Oh! In the sales list on the TCG player report this month. So One Piece is sort of coming up. Maybe it was just that Yu-Gi-Oh! Didn't have any match of set releases, but just about where it fell, I was just impressed to see One Piece doing what it does. And then Digimon, I think, was like number 5.
I wonder who's number 1.
I think you can guess.
Yeah.
You want to elevate that chair again?
Big month for Pokemon.
Yeah, huge month for Pokemon.
Yeah.
151 released in a different country.
Yeah. I can't wait for next year when we'll be like, oh yeah, the one Pikachu is in.
One Pikachu.
A one of one.
It's definitely gonna come.
You don't get many ideas.
Yeah.
But okay, so the other thing we haven't really talked about, we do have a little bit of extra time than what we normally do, and I just want to know if you guys have heard anything about it. But there's a little bit of controversy in the TCG world around the upcoming Lorcana.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Have you guys familiar with this? The lawsuit from Upper Deck?
Upper Deck lawsuit.
Yeah.
Heard about that.
So obviously we have Lorcana due, I think, in mid-August. I think Gen Con is its launch date.
Yeah,
so
August.
somewhere around there. And basically what's come out is there's been this controversy that one of the co-designers on the game was headhunted from Upper Deck to come to Ravensburger, which is publishing Lorcana, and brought half of the game system with them. So this is a developing story, so we'll have to see. I know there was definitely an injunction to sort of get Lorcana's release delayed from Upper Deck. And Upper Deck's putting a lot of credibility in this basket, because the interesting thing is that it's their own CEO came out and tweeted about it or posted about it or whatever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they're
High
high
profile.
profile and made it very personal.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting. It's a little bit of a drama. I don't know if we've got too much more information. It's stupid law stuff, like, it's moved from a state court to a federal court now.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't think it's going to delay Lorcana. I just got back from Origins convention, and suspiciously, Ravensburger only did puzzles there. They looked like, I don't know if it was a last-minute decision, but they were one of the major sponsors, and they did almost no gaming stuff. So I don't know if that was a reaction, because I assumed that they'd want to be blowing out everything for Lorcana coming out soon, but there was no mention of it whatsoever. So who knows? It's interesting.
I'm surprised that Upper Deck's even trying to contest with Disney.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah, really.
Disney has kind of money where it's
You can't go band for band with Disney. They're gonna
Well, I think the legal speculation is this is going to come down to like many of these kind of lawsuits do. It's just going to be who's got the bigger lawyers and who can spend more money on their team. And I definitely think. Yeah, I don't know if Disney gets involved directly, but Ravensburger is obviously, a 100-plus-something-year-old puzzle company that I'm sure has very deep international pockets, and Upper Deck has all their sports cards and stuff. So yeah, it's a little bit of a cardboard clash going on in the courtroom at the moment. But
I saw those Lorcana cards that were like. It was like Mickey Rookie, so I can see where the copy from Upper Deck came from. Yeah, Goofy Gretzky seemed really
really special on that.
That would be their compromise.
Yeah.
They could do.
I'd play that.
Exactly.
Universes be
Disney-themed hockey trading card game.
Yeah, exactly. That was interconnected with Lorcana. That could be the settlement. They can just do all of the, the sports characters.
You could play both games with the same card.
Yeah.
Revolutionary.
I would love a Universes Beyond like NBA.
Oh yeah.
LeBron's band.
Oh, Space Jam deck would be sick.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some more Warner Brothers licensing or something. But yeah, no, I would be very interested to see where this lawsuit goes and stuff. And I love the idea of Lorcana. Bringing out some sort of compromise with tons of new characters.
I'm just thinking more about NBA, Universe Beyond.
I would.
Lakers tribal, you could do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Carmelo Anthony combo is too good. It's the meta right now.
Yeah, you have a Miami Heat and Bird deck.
I'll cast Euro Step.
That's hilarious. All right, so that's basically I just wanted to cover it. Obviously, it's just a big piece of news in the trading card game space. We don't have a ton of information. Again, apparently this other game was originally called Shell Beach, and then they changed the name to Return of Icor. This other game that was supposed to be using the mechanics from that allegedly became Lorcana. I thought it was an interesting observation that the acronym for Rush of Icor is ROI, as in return on investment, which is I don't know if it's just a coincidence, but I wouldn't put it past Upper Deck of trying to market their card game as basically just expensive cardboard. So we'll wait and see what comes of that. That's pretty much it. Let's wrap up.
We didn't cover my lawsuit with Wizards.
Oh, okay. Well, please go on. I can't wait to hear it.
I didn't open the One Ring, and I was just really angry one night, so I called a lawyer, and it's not going well. I'm in a lot of debt, so all my links are in the whatever. I need money.
They need to have a gambling warning on the packs themselves now. Well, that's the thing. Like all those packs say, find the One Ring, the limited edition one of One Ring, which is now it's all obsolete.
I know.
Okay, hold on. Class action lawsuit starting here.
Wait, hold on.
You might have something.
When does it come out? How long do I have so no one steals this idea?
Get on it today, tomorrow. Okay, so that's about it. We are lawsuits aside, we are going to wrap up, but let's do it in the traditional way with crack, play, build. If you guys haven't watched the show before, this is just where our guys give their opinion on what they want to play with their decks, what they want to crack open in booster packs, and what the decks interest them that they want to build with in their respective games, and in some cases formats for those games that have formats. So let's start with Parker. What do you got for your three today?
All right, for crack, so from the Battles of Legend, Monsters Revenge, I got a few cards that are good to pull. We got the Sky Striker Ace Azalea, which is a new card, actually, for the Sky Striker, but it's generic, so it's good for any deck, pretty much. There's Rite of Amorcir, which I mentioned before, and there's Divine Arsenal AA Zeus, which is another really powerful card that hadn't been reprinted in a couple of years, so that's what I have for crack. For build, I have Mana Diem because I think it's the most fun deck right now. That's what I've been playing, and it's getting more support in the next 2 core sets, so that's really exciting. And then for play, I have either Rika because it just won the European, and then there's either Kashtira, and another one that I've been seeing a lot at my locals lately is Runic Sprite variants. There's a bunch of different ways you can build the deck, but Runic Sprite seems like a really solid strategy right now.
Okay, sweet. All right. How about you, Tom?
All right. Well, for crack, I think it's still the special illustration rare. I don't know. From my understanding, very expensive card. It's gone down a fair bit, but still.
But it's still a hotness.
I haven't kept up with the Japanese 151 prices, so maybe there's something in there. From my understanding, it's still Iono. For build, it's been an interesting one for me. It's not a good deck. Meowscarada EX Lost Box is what I've been I've been building. It's a rogue deck at best, but it's very satisfying trying to make it do literally anything.
Okay, right. It's,
for play, it's either a Lost Box, just in general, not Meowscarada. Please don't do that to yourself. Or I think Gardevoir is arguably the strongest deck in format still, but I think it's just way easier to tech for. So Lost Box is what people should be playing if you want to have good competitive success.
Okay, all right. So yeah, Lost Box seems to come up quite a bit on those sort of plays there, and it's obviously a really good strategy.
Ever since it came out, it's just been a top-tier strategy, and there's no sign of it going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, not for at least 2 years with that rotation.
Exactly.
And then in Magic, what do we got?
So the crack is still the ring, even though the one ring is gone. There probably is another one out there. I don't trust Wizards putting one up. Come on, it's gonna be it's still the ring. It's like a $50-$60 card right now because it's seen so much play. Obviously, the set has been heavily opened because people were searching for that ring. So there are lots of copies out there. They're not hard to find copies. It's just hard to pay for them.
Right.
So my crack would just still be the one ring. For now.
Of various different variants.
Yeah, like 80 different versions. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
My build is going to be currently Modern Yawgmoth is actually doing pretty well. It gets to play Delighted Halfling and Bowmaster.
Right.
And pretty sweet cards to be able to put into this modern deck that's been seen play. Now just get the new toys to play with.
Okay.
There are even versions of the deck running the ring that are doing all right. It has a pretty good matchup against Scam, just the fact that Ragavan is such a good card, and Yawgmoth is pretty good against Ragavan, especially now with Bowmaster too. It has a good matchup against them, and it's not good against the ring decks, but it has some funny things you can do. They don't really deal any damage to you, so Giralf's Messenger, which kind of has been cut from that deck, can kind of come back as a way to kill them now.
Okay.
And, just other stuff like that. I'm even seeing some people run, Questing Beast in the sideboard to get around the protection from everything, because it means damage can't prevent it.
Right.
So you can just beat them down with that sometimes. That's pretty fun. And play is just obviously going to be the 5/4 color Omnath ring decks, or any modern deck with ring in it.
Right.
You just throw, if you have whatever modern deck, and you have money, just add the rings and
throw the ring in.
You'll get 3rd maybe. That'll be fine. Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe that it's become such a warping card.
It is.
I think, do you remember, I remember it was one of the first cards previewed, and I don't really remember that much buzz around the gameplay behind it. But
some people were worried about it, but I think most people kind of brushed it off a little bit.
Yeah.
Most people saw it cost 4, and they were like, Modern's a 3-mana format.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And obviously, there's going to be some degree of attention taken away when you've got a 1-of-1 version of it somewhere as well.
Yeah. Well, if you search up One Ring right now, even though it's taken over Modern, you don't get anything about Modern.
No,
you just get One Ring got found.
Yeah, exactly.
You get CBC News.
Yeah, exactly. Various financial channels and stuff like that are also reporting on it. I've seen.
I was watching the CBC News, and I was like, when are they going to bring up the sideboard tag?
Yeah, exactly. Come here for your trading card game news, not CBC News or any other major news organization. Here is where you want to be.
Yeah. I'm not allowed near their offices anymore either, so don't go to them if you support me.
Yeah. And remember, if you want to support us on the channel, you can jump over to Totem Troll. You can buy singles from these ones, maybe even the One Ring if you're feeling like you want to play in Modern. Just buy 4 of them.
Yeah.
And remember, use the discount code TBPN5, which you'll find linked in the description. And anything sold directly from Totem Toad and Troll, I'll take that again, is going to be discounted, and you can get it sent to you. Go buy some cards, support us at the same time, have a good time, and obviously in the description will be more details about that. Now, before we get out of here, anything else you guys want to add?
I think that's pretty much it for me.
That's it?
Yeah, that's all for me.
Yeah, throw the ring in the volcano.
Yeah,
Please.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
the campaign style.
I take it back. I want my partner.
Yeah.
I want it
All right, we are definitely pro volcano.
Throw it in my mailbox. I'll
I'll
it in a
accept that
volcano
too. Yeah,
and win the
exactly.
lottery at the same time, whatever.
All right, so that's about it from us. Until next time, thank you for checking out the channel. If you like this kind of content, by all means, go on to the rest of the Booster Pack Network, whether that's the podcast or whether that's video. Check out some other things there, whether you want to design your own trading card game, whether you want to learn a better history about it, or you just want to hear some more casual, crazy conversations from myself and others, definitely check that out. Again, if you have any suggestions for the show, or you have anything else you want to see from a show like this, or any of those others, let us know as well. And hopefully in the coming months, we'll have some more crazy or interesting stuff coming out of this show and our others as well. So, all right, goodbye from me, goodbye from you fellas.
See you.
Bye.
Peace. All right, until next time, remember, keep shuffling.